everybody is wondering what and where they all came from.
Hey, Litternet! The Dork Lords are back. Paul, Matt, we are here to talk about The Leftovers, Season 3, Episode 6, Certified. Yeah, kind of monumental.
Yes.
Also, I guess I should have known this before this weekend, but I will claim that I did not. I was basing my expectations for the season on the previous two seasons, which were each 10 episodes apiece. Little did I realize this season, the final season, is 8 episodes. So instead of, we basically got 2 episodes left in the series. Which makes sense, because as it's moving pretty quickly towards its, as opposed to American Gods, which is perhaps moving a little slowly towards its finale.
Yeah,
this one's going boop, 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 boop. So I was wondering, how are they going to get 4 episodes out of one day? But they're not. They're not, as it turns out.
No.
So, okay. So this is, it's an all play, but primarily it's a Laurie episode.
Yes.
We do get most of the major players show up for at least a little bit.
A number of them.
But
or even their voices.
And it is, again, spoilers, right? Yeah, great, we said it. Okay, good. This thing foreshadows Laurie's suicide in so many ways. By the end, it was like, oh, but yeah. It's coming. I mean, they... obviously, the opening theme song, was 1-800 Suicide.
Yep.
Very,
That's true.
it was suicide. Here are the different ways.
It was
the little eerie with given the Chris Cornell, the Soundgarden guy, having committed suicide recently. I mean, not that was intentionally there. It just so happens that this guy committed suicide. I don't know. It was just a little... It occurred to me as I was listening to the Suicide song, like, oh yeah, there was a major song artist that committed suicide. Anyway, okay, whatever. That's a little sideline, but it was a tragedy, and it shows you that this stuff does come up.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the thing that I was thinking is typically amongst, maybe it's only shows that are geared towards viewers of a certain age, but I feel like it's the responsible thing to do is like, this show is about suicide. If you feel the same, maybe you would call this number.
All right. They didn't do that.
They didn't do anything like that.
They didn't do anything like that.
Nothing like that.
So other foreshadowings to Laurie's suicide was obviously she attempts to commit suicide in the beginning of the episode. We have the flashback.
Oh, yes. Right. Correct.
She is,
yes.
So we
she
learn...
takes pills, and we see the same woman we saw in the first episode.
Yeah,
the first person
we see.
Yeah, who had someone depart, which is her baby. Which, I went back and watched the episode that occurred before the first events of the first show, which is I think the second to last episode. And we get to see her again. So she really did a great job, though. In
when you say she, you're talking about this
the
woman.
actress.
Yeah. Okay.
The woman who played the mother of the baby.
Right.
In therapy, talking about how it's really sad that she is going back to the place, just figuring that he's going to come back. That's where he'd come back, isn't it?
Right. It's that thing we were talking about, how your brain is trying to process the unprocessable.
Right.
And so we make these rituals, these, religion, we make these patterns. And so in her mind, she's like, okay, they disappeared. Obviously, when they came back, they'll probably come back in the exact same spot. I better be there.
Yeah.
So she's put that into her ritual. It's very sad. And as we learn later in the episode, is that, Laurie had a departure.
Well, she reminded us that she had a depart. Well, right. I guess they didn't say it explicitly.
They didn't explain it, but you could infer.
You could infer, yeah, from the first time, that episode I was talking about that occurred, where she was
16 weeks pregnant.
She was, and then we never hear about it again.
Looking at the ultrasound. So I think in that moment when she is trying to counsel this woman who had a baby depart,
right?
She's left speechless.
Yes.
She has nothing to offer.
Right.
this person, because she has nothing to offer herself. I mean, she kind of needs her own counseling.
Yes,
basically.
right.
So we see that's the day that she joins the Guilty Remnant. It's like,
yes,
you know what? They're not going to ask me for answers.
Nope.
And I don't have to talk anymore. All right, fine. And she's
like, what do I do? That's what she asked them.
So, very, powerful day in her existence. We then see her. It's a little. The episode is fractured.
Yes, because
So
there
we're
are two
like,
timelines
what?
that's following.
But she shows up at the ranch where the two Kevins are.
Correct.
And we see that John and Michael are already there as well. You're
Yes.
Like, what? Wait, whoa. Okay, we're obviously missing something here. But what we learn is that Michael, the son, reached out to her,
right.
Called her, and said, hey, get over here
Unbeknownst
right away.
to his father.
Exactly. He is the Doubting Thomas, I believe. Anyway, we'll talk about that with the Last Supper thing. But
it's interesting. I mean, because it's like nobody knows how much they aren't even aware that they should be questioning how much he is on their side, because clearly he is involved in making the book of Kevin,
right?
And
he's John's son, and John's kind of on for the ride,
son, right? And he was there when Kevin was killed by Kevin's grandfather.
Yes, and
sorry,
he was there when
Kevin's
he came back to
father.
life.
I'm sorry,
when Kevin
by Michael's grandfather. I mean,
doesn't he come dig him up or something? He comes and digs
right.
up Kevin Jr.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So he sees the miracle. Witness.
He sees the miracle. He's a part of it. Yet he also calls on Lori to come. And he can see that maybe she's a part of it more than everybody else, because all they know is all the things she's done to betray them. So,
well, so we'll just jump to the Last Supper moments, because we're talking about it here a bit. But so they kind of go through and assign themselves the various apostles that they represent, which is somewhat, whatever, like, hey, look, it's metaphorical, but whatever. They're doing it in the context of this conversation. And so Kevin Sr. is like, I'll be Peter. And John, you're already named John. So you're John, and Matthew's Matthew. And then he feels sure that Lori is Doubting Thomas.
Right.
The Doubting Thomas is sitting right next to her. It's Michael, I think. I think in that context, because he's the one that's like, yeah, actually, I'm wondering whether this whole thing is real. That's why I called Lori. I mean, like, they don't say, oh, it's actually you. Because remember, he said, Kevin Sr. says, well, you can be whoever you want to be. You want to be Simon or Bartholomew? I don't want to be. Like, I think the implication is Doubting Thomas is Michael. But so Lori's like, no, I'm Judas. As you will find out in a minute or so when you've all been drugged. But she's like, yeah, Doubting Thomas, doubting's easy. Judas had this, everyone was telling him how great Jesus was, and he still acted because he had this strong enough of a belief. And so that's, now in her case, she's not trying to wreck what Jesus has built. I'm going to call it. She just wants to talk to Kevin and not talk him out of it.
Correct.
Actually, even
yeah.
she's not trying to ruin the party. So it's not really a 1-to-1 equivalence of like, you're the Judas, but whatever. She does drug them, and they all.
No, and I was referring to the fact that she's the one who's responsible for committing Kevin Sr. That was a betrayal that I was.
That was, and right, and you're right, because he says Kevin Sr.'s like, yeah, and you were the one person that believed me.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, I'm in an institution.
Yeah.
And it's like, that was a Judas moment.
Yes.
That was a boop, doop, boop. So, some other foreshadowing moments of what leads to the end, which is Lori going over the bar. Now, I suppose there is a small percentage chance that she, much like when she took the pills, she could change her mind and not kill herself. But I think, especially this close to the end of the series, I think that's the end. I think that's Lori's final act.
I don't know. I feel it's funny thinking about that moment when she does it. I mean, conveniently, she is called by
that was a
children.
little convenient, frankly, but okay, fine.
Just at the right time, called by her children. And the fact that she continues to do it. I mean, her involvement and connection with her daughter was the thing that made her turn on a dime in the first season. So, and they made a point
with that lighter.
Yeah, giving her the lighter that
and then
she throws away, and then she has to go back for it, and she's willing to fight.
She's willing to fight for it,
right? So
but
now she gives it away. She gives away, which is what people who are committing suicide do. They give away things,
and it says "Don't forget me" on it,
right?
Which seems you'd give that to your ex-husband, perhaps, as you leave. But yeah,
well, if it was her message to him, I mean,
right.
But more in terms of here, this is the thing that our daughter gave me. And here, you should keep this. I'm not gonna, but you could argue that okay, you gave away the thing that told you not to forget me, and then I'm gonna call you.
So you think maybe that call is gonna make her change her mind as she's down below the waves?
Yeah. One thing to talk about is the freedom she was experiencing for not telling people what to do anymore.
Right.
And letting these people pursue what they're going to pursue because it makes sense to them. And so, while she could be pursuing this suicide thing, I think that'd be unfortunate. I wonder if there is not more for her.
I will say this, like story-wise, other foreshadowing that I got this through the script was, for instance, when she hands the lighter to Kevin Jr.,
mm-hmm.
the last 3 lines that she says to him as they're leaving. So she hands the lighter to him. And when she hands it to him, she says, "I quit." She's talking about quitting smoking, but
right.
It's also kind of "I quit." No. Then she says...
She could have felt like that up until the point where she got the phone call and said, you know what?
Yeah, I agree. But then she says, is Nora gone? She's like, "We're all gone."
Right.
And then she says, "Goodbye, Kevin."
Right, yeah.
I mean, those are...
Yeah.
If you just look story-wise, you'd be like, that person's gonna die soon.
Yeah.
But you're right. She could change her mind.
I mean, because I really love the phone call actually, because even though it was about a trivial issue, which is something that she was certain of but wasn't certain, and she knew her mother would know. Why? Because those are the things that mothers know.
Right.
And she apologized for subjecting her to that.
About this little...
Canadian TV show is what it was. And so it was very strange. So from what I went and looked at it online, and it's really strange with these mannequins. And anyway.
So it's an actual show.
It's an actual Canadian show, yeah. And so she was like, "I'm sorry, I submit." And she's like, "That's okay. It's a phase. Something you went through."
Yeah, I forgive you. She says that too.
Yeah. Well, and she had nothing to forgive her daughter for.
Right.
At all.
Just kind of a...
No, it's just more in terms of, hey, you were making me go through that and whatever. I mean, the things that, the importance of her still needing to connect, her children still needing to connect to her at that time. It's like, it'd be unfortunate if losing the baby that was never born was more important to her than her own children needing her.
It's true that she has people that love her... But is it enough, I guess?
Right. And so that'd be unfortunate if it wasn't. Because before that, you didn't see those feelings. It wasn't until after the event happened that everybody had difficulty dealing with. And it was interesting that we heard a little more about the people who were coming to them, her and John, with their problems, wanting to talk to dead people. Like, we don't even try to do that. It just didn't work. Talking to the people, pretending to talk to people who have been, went to the...
Right, the departure.
Right.
We don't talk to the departures because, and I like that explanation.
Yeah.
Which was, people who had a loved one die, they want closure.
Yeah.
People who had someone depart don't want closure.
No.
So they end up hitting you.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is what happens when she kind of goes through the motions with Nora. Nora seems obsessed with her, like, tell me stuff. I think
she gets hit for another reason.
She gets hit for another, but it is interesting that she right after saying, "Yeah, we don't talk about departures because we get attacked," and then she gets attacked. Yes. But also in that mind, she had a departure. We know now for a fact that Lori had a departure. Right. So she's talking again about herself, perhaps, as well. And that she won't talk about departures because she doesn't know how to resolve that even within herself.
Mm. But it's hard to resolve something if you don't know what happened.
Yeah. So, okay, but here is my one... I'm going to call like a little... I had a little problem with this, with the way in which she commits suicide. I'm assuming she's dead, but she might not be. But let's assume she committed suicide.
Right.
Okay. She gets the idea for committing suicide from Nora, who just says, hey, you know what? If I was going to commit suicide, I'd go scuba diving. Because there's so many ways scuba diving can go wrong that people can just say, oh, it was an accident.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I can understand that normally. In this scenario, I can't imagine anyone who would think it was an accident.
Why would they think that she would want to commit suicide?
Well, okay. First of all, she tried to commit suicide once before. But
They don't know. They don't know that.
But let's assume everybody comes back together.
Yep.
Eventually, and they're going to be like, oh, that's a real shame she died.
Right.
Nora's going to mention, oh, you know what? 2 days ago, I just told her the story about if I wanted to commit suicide, I should go scuba diving.
You think she'll say that?
She'll at least think it.
If she's alive. But as far as she knows, she's dead. As far as Lori knows, Nora's dead.
I don't know that she thinks Nora's gone through that machine yet.
Yeah, do you think they're going to, like, let more people talk to me. Let more people talk to me before I kill myself.
So I'm just saying, there is the Nora thing. There's the fact that she came to Australia not to go scuba diving.
No, to save those people.
To save the people.
Right.
And then suddenly, on the day of the anniversary, she decides... She's literally hanging out with Kevin, says, goodbye, Kevin. Yeah. The very next thing she does is go scuba diving for some reason.
Just go scuba diving. Why not? Go for a scuba dive.
And then dies. I'm just saying, I think it's in context, right? I think what Nora is saying is, hey, accidents happen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that was an accident. Within the context of the circumstances, the fact that she just happens to go scuba diving.
The only person who could say that, I think, is Nora. Nora and actually, what's his name too?
She might think that Kevin's going to be dead too.
Kevin's not going to be like. I never made that association before. Nora said it. Like, oh, people that are going scuba diving might want to kill themselves. Nora is the one who put that into.
I'm just saying.
Right, and Nora and Kevin wasn't around for that conversation. Nora's brother was, whose name I don't know why I've forgotten.
Nora's brother, Matt.
Matt was there. So Matt could say, Matt is another person I think unlikely to, hey, everybody, maybe she killed herself.
All right.
And I don't know why Kevin would say it either. Like, oh, hey, buddy, you might have thought it was an accident, but don't worry. This is better. She killed herself.
I mean, you could say Kevin Jr. let's say I'm Kevin Jr.
Yep.
I'm Jesus. All right. So, I just learned that Lori died within 12 hours or 24 hours after seeing me and leaving me after also saying she lost her kid and having this really kind of touching goodbye moment where I can't be here because I think you might be dead soon and I'm just leaving. And then she dies within 12 hours. I would say she committed suicide.
I believe, too, that she thinks, John, that Kevin's going to die. So, again, someone else who can't tell what happened. That's her plan.
Well, plus then also the daughter who called. The daughter's like,
I'm just hanging out.
Did you hear that Nora and Kevin are in Australia?
Yeah, they're here.
Yeah, she didn't say they're here.
What did she say?
She did not say she was in Australia. That's because when she says, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just hanging out. I think what I got out of that conversation was the daughter doesn't think that Lori followed them to Australia. She's like, did you know Nora and Kevin are in Australia? Oh, really? Well, whatever. I mean, in other words, she's withholding the truth from her daughter. Her daughter would then find out, oh, you know what? While I was talking to her, she was hanging out on a boat in Australia and then died.
And what's the thing about that? The thing about that is Michael and John are still going to be around to say, yeah, we knew that this thing was going on with Kevin. She went there to help out. And as far as everybody knows, then Kevin did this thing and then he died because that's what she thinks is going to happen. And I think that's reasonable to think. And then where's Nora? Oh, Nora went and went someplace else. Okay, two people who... Now, the people who could say if everything's going to plan is Matt, who could say, wait a minute, Nora talked about this thing before she went out and got killed. about someone going, why would Matt do it? He'd had enough in the first season running around telling people how terrible everybody is and everybody hating his ass. So, he's used to not telling people, oh, actually, no, here's the happier news.
I'll leave it at this.
He killed himself.
I'll leave it at this. It's just not a flawless execution of the, hey, I'll go scuba diving so no one will know I committed suicide plan. I feel like there's some flaws in her plan there that maybe, she might not, it might not be the simple, accidents happen. Rest in peace.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, that's all.
Rest in peace.
We'll leave it at that. All right. So you just brought up the Nora thing too. So we leave Nora, and then Matt decides to stay with her as they look over what appears to be an actual functioning machine, or at least it's in pieces at that point. But
yeah, they had used Nora had used for some reason Nora doesn't have detective skills, but
or Google.
But Lori does.
Yeah.
So she's able to figure out where those people are, and they're casing their place.
By the way, if you were I'm not one of these, but if you were a dog conspiracy theorist with the show, dog pulls her away from the tree, like bites her ankle.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the very end, she's like, I took some of your pills. She's talking to the dog.
Oh, yeah.
There's a dog that's there.
Yeah,
the dog keeps showing up in these kind of pivotal moments. I think it's just a happy coincidence. But the showrunners are obviously putting dogs in there for whatever reason. Yeah. So you could try to make a pattern, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So, yes, Lori finds the scientists. They have that very uncomfortable conversation in the car where Nora and Lori don't really care for each other. I got the... Especially Nora doesn't care for Lori, I felt. Especially when she's going to take her lighter. Well, you don't say you're not smoking. Well, fine, I'll just keep your lighter.
Yeah.
Give it back. No. Because she thinks she's actually smoking. Is what I think too. Is like, you're better than that. Because what Lori says is, I think it's actually a really self-destructive habit. You who are now smoking right in front of me. Which is kind of a slap in the face to Nora. Nora's like, and you're not smoking? Fine.
Right.
Anyway.
I don't know how much, poor their relationship was before. But I think, in that moment, I think she's pissed. And I think, she's just using that opportunity to sort of get back at Lori.
Yeah. So they have that conversation, but then they follow the scientists to the machine, or a machine.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, Lori does call it a suicide machine, and Nora's like, nope. She doesn't think of it that way. And Matt decides to stay with Nora because it's the last day. Here's the question. Does he think people are going to depart on the anniversary? He does, doesn't he?
I guess he does.
Because that's different from the Kevin Sr., there's a flood coming.
Right.
Like, those are two different things.
Right. That was an interesting thing that they talked about, where Kevin Sr. got there and said, look at that, they're making a boat. Yep. That's smart. Because if this doesn't go right, we'll get a flood. And they're like, no. Actually, Michael is saying, like, that's not what it is.
It was a monument to one of the kids who liked boats.
Right.
Nope. So that's a little confusing in terms of, it seems like one, maybe they assume both things are going to happen. There's going to be some departures, Matt and Kevin Sr., because in some ways, they're operating on the same mythology. That Kevin Jr. is Jesus, but Matt seems convinced that there's going to be departures happening, and then Kevin Sr. is like, there's going to be a big flood. Yeah,
I don't know what's going through Matt's head, because he's clearly given up on the urgency of trying to get, Kevin Jr. back.
True. In fact, when he gives up on that to stay with Nora.
Right. So, he seems to certainly seems to accept the fact that. He's probably not going to get a magical cure for himself. And I guess he is supporting his sister. I'm not sure how much he...
That's true. He's still very sick.
What is going to happen, whether he thinks the machine is going to work or not. I'm not sure. If he thinks that it won't going to work at all. So, I'm not exactly sure at this point what Matt is doing. Although, it's not like I'm upset by that.
I did not get from
I feel like in the next 2 episodes, we're getting a stronger idea of what he's thinking. And I'm okay to wait.
I didn't get that it was a done deal that she was going to use the machine necessarily. Like they were standing there looking.
I mean, the fact that we're seeing her and we're going to see her in the future.
Well, sure. Agreed.
She doesn't use the machine.
Yeah.
Or at least not in the way that other people did.
Right. But also, just I don't know. The machine also didn't look like it was ready to be used. It wasn't like they could just walk down on the beach and use it. It looked like it was in pieces, and part of it was on a truck, and like it was been disassembled or something. I don't know. I'm just
I had an impression of that.
So I'm not sure.
Maybe it wasn't.
I had a feeling it was more of a brother and sister are just gonna ride out this apocalyptic day together. But
you didn't get the impression that she's going to go down on the machine and.
I'm not saying she's not. I don't know. Like.
You don't think that was her intention? Why she wanted to go there? Is it like, is this a good place to...
Kind of by the end, it was almost like...
I feel like she bought the whole... I'm not sure if she buys the whole, we're at the anniversary, something's going to happen.
I agree with that, I think.
So...
But Matt does. And
right.
She was very glad to have Matt stay.
Sure.
She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's what he wanted. So she was, okay, I'm going off to do this now. Don't tell everybody why I did it.
She was also, interestingly, that little monologue she had about the guy who deflated the balloons, the beach ball at the baseball game.
Yes.
I think she was basically equating herself to that.
Yeah.
Right? She's the guy that's deflating the beach ball for all these people. Like, I'm not going to go turn these people in and ruin their dreams.
Right.
And Lori's like, well, there's chaos if you don't do that. So... She leaves it at that.
Yeah, but it wasn't just she was making about how she treated that one woman who wanted to believe, and Matt was willing to let believe that her husband had departed and didn't just get buried. She was like, "No, this person's gonna learn. And everybody's gonna." So
she wanted to deflate the beach ball.
Yes, I think she was seeing herself as a deflator, and she was saying, do I have to be that person? Do I continue to be that person? That person doesn't.
Why would you want that job?
Right.
Yeah. So we have Kevin Jr. just kind of shows up at the end, basically. I mean, he's off on his ride, and then he shows up, and they have that conversation.
Yes.
And as soon as they start, it's kind of a comedic premise, but as soon as you start one-upping each other on stories, well, the time that I accidentally killed the hamster, oh, that's nothing. I was like, oh boy, what is going to be the final version of this story? I guess I should have maybe thought that it would be I lost our kid, or the kid disappeared. But you knew something big was about to happen there with the what? So that reveal happens. I did like, again, with the hamster, another, they were like, Mr. Fuzzy. He's like, it's Mr. Funny. His name was Mr. Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Funny. The hamster who died and got put in the neighbor's trash. So, yeah. There was a Wizard of Oz reference at one point. I thought was interesting. What was it? Lori.
Oh, the brain and the heart and all that. Yeah.
And they call her Dorothy. Because Kevin Sr. is worried, justifiably so, that she's going to just deep six the whole thing. It's like, so when he comes back, are you going to try to jam us up? He's like, nope.
Yeah.
She's kind of come to that. I'm not giving out advice.
It's not clear why it seems like she changed. Where initially she was saying, no, Matt, you're not going to talk to him. I'm going to talk to him. And then she changed. She decided not to that
whole thing about, like, in these times, she says something like, in times like these, some crazy things are fine, basically. Like, look for whatever gives you solace, I think is kind of her mind.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that would occur without, when the camera's not on me, I'm going to make that choice. So, that could point to, like, her story's not done yet. They're going to show that because she's made a different choice.
All right. I think her story's done, but okay. This show, it would not surprise me if she shows up in the series finale. It's like, hey, I decided not to.
It's possible that we'll see her because Kevin will go onto his nether realm and see her.
Now, here's the thing.
And that guy, God.
Assuming, because we do see him being drowned. It looks like he's being drowned repeatedly. I don't know in the trailer.
Yeah, it seemed like he was being drowned in a bathtub in one of the previous times we saw previews.
And then he's definitely in the dunking pool.
And then he's definitely in the dunking pool.
And there's just some
Maybe
line that somebody
die.
says where, like, is it Michael? Yeah, or Michael or John says something like, we can't keep doing this to him, or something like that. Like, he's going to, I don't know, like they keep trying to drown him and it doesn't work. I don't know. But if he does go into the other world again, which you kind of feel like he probably will.
If I guess, but you know.
that would also kind of then we would know for a fact that Miracle is not miraculous.
Yeah, did you really think that though?
Not really.
I didn't think so.
But in the show context,
actually what I felt like it was kind of trying to lead us is that there's some other explanation for the crazy things that have been happening to him. Not that it would have felt plausible, especially. It's just in some ways it almost feels like. The fact that he had that false prophecy or false, oh, that wasn't her, that he imagined that. And he's, it's just made part of me wondering, is this really, is there some other reason for these fantastical things occurring? Are we just seeing his delusions? Which, may feel like a cheat if that's what it is.
Actually, you're talking about when he thought he saw Evie, but he didn't see Evie.
Right, that wasn't real.
Because he was, delusional.
And Laurie's got this theory that, no, that stuff isn't real. So
Don't get in the way of delusional
him killing
people.
Patty and him seeing Patty and him,
taking on the role of assassin.
Right, and getting shot and not dying in the water, magically not killing him. All of that stuff wasn't real.
Yeah, but it feels like enough third parties have witnessed his delusions, if you want to call them that.
Well, they'd need more explanation.
Unless it would be mass delusions.
They need more explanation. Like,
John shot him.
Right.
Michael got him out of the ground.
Right.
All that stuff, whatever.
Right. So. Yeah. So you need more explanation than you got. So, so it makes it less likely. But, that's what I'm wondering. Like, they're going to give us a whole bunch of explanation? Turns out he didn't really hit him that much. It was a graze. It seemed like he shot him really. Yeah,
I can't.
And it wasn't really poison. And he buried him with a breathalyzer.
That would be such a disappointing Scooby-Doo type resolve to what is otherwise a really, really cool show. It's not going to happen. But yeah, if they just spent like the last half hour, episode 8, and here's how it all went down. He was wearing a body vest. Yeah. Oh, but then he got hit. But then he passed out and someone threw him in the reservoir. So no, they won't do that. And the show,
you don't know they'll do that.
I don't know that.
You hope they don't.
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
The show is great. It's so bizarre and wonderfully bizarre, and the writing is awesome, and the acting is great. And it's just so unlike any other show. So kudos to Leftovers, and I think we are in capable hands for a potentially memorable series finale. Obviously not next week, but the week after. But
that's the penultimate next week.
We will be back for episode 7. So, so real quick,
7 Kevin.
Certified, which is the title of this week's episode. She says she's a certified scuba diver.
Yes.
But then also certified could be like, you're certifiable.
Sure.
I think
could be
the double entendre.
Could it be talking about the meat they're eating? Could be certified by the
certified meat
of Australia.
The woman who I forgot her name, but the rancher.
Oh yes.
We learned that what she wants. We should bring this up. Kevin Jr. The whole point in him being not dunked is that he can go back into the other world, talk to Christopher Sunday because he's dead. Yes. Because Kevin Sr. fell on him, and get the song that will stop the rains. Right. Then come back, tell that to Kevin Sr.
Not only that. Because she's got to also ask the woman's kids.
Right, so then I'm just saying, that's the other thing.
He's got a couple things to do.
He's got a couple of things. He's got to tell Evie she's loved.
Yes, right. I forgot the third thing. He's got a lot to do.
He does have a lot to do. He's got to find Evie, tell her she's loved.
Yep.
He's got to find Christopher Sunday, get a song, memorize the song, so we can come back, teach it to Kevin Sr. in time to stop the flood. Yep. And then he's got to go find this rancher woman's kids.
Yes.
And ask them, what happened to their shoes?
Yeah, what happened to their shoes?
Because their shoes were missing.
Yep. Where? She looked all over for them. Yeah. So, okay, here's a question for you. Do you think that if Kevin fails in this mission or decides not to go, that on the anniversary there will be a flood. Do you think that's what would happen?
We do see a big storm hitting.
Yep, big storm's heading.
But now is the flood like? It's what I'm getting out of Kevin Sr.'s prophecy is that the whole world will flood.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, is it just raining in Australia?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, if you've just been back in New York, you'll be fine. I don't think so.
Me neither. I think he's been wrong. Kevin Sr. has been wrong.
Yeah.
So this whole thing about this song, I think, would be a waste of time. But he wants him to do that, and I'm sure he would do it. So yeah, so it'll become a question of, let's say we're assuming in the one of the final shows that he will be dunked, and we're also assuming that the fantastic things that have occurred to him have happened.
Yes, and that he will again go to the afterworld.
Right, probably will, and then it's just a thing. He just dies and comes back to life, and he tells the people, oh, here's where the shoes are, and then
so maybe this is the ending. Maybe this is it. He comes back. He has a song. Mm-hmm. He teaches it to Kevin Sr. Kevin Sr. sings it. Nothing happens. Yep, you saved everything.
Yeah,
like that's it. So we'll never know if you hadn't done it because you saved the world. Awesome. Congrats. Whew. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I'd rather you know what. I don't, or he never finds the guy, or the guy doesn't give him the song. I'd rather him not. But I guess they could do that. It could be some sort of, hey, everybody's belief about craziness was approved. Here's your crazy thought. Hopefully that helps you live the rest of your life. Right. Considering the sudden departure happened.
Yeah.
Okay, you happy now?
Everybody good? Yay! Man, it is interesting. So yes, they have a lot of possibilities. Yes. So we will address them as they happen.
Yes.
All right. Anyway. Farewell, everyone. We will see you next week.
Everybody is wondering